There I am. There I are. What's going on, guys? It is Throw It Out There Thursday. It has been a wild last couple of weeks, a wild last week. What we got today for you guys is we're going to talk about the new Pro Stock Class. Super Stock Class? Pro Stock Class.
It is the Pro Stock Class.
Pro Stock
Steve,
Class.
And how it pertains to everyone's everyday UTV, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to do the Pro Stock Class, how it pertains to everything that you should do to make your UTV safe. But in order to talk about that, we got to go over to the butcher himself, Justin Smith.
Butcher, that's new. Yeah. That's pretty good. I apologize, you guys. I'm getting over a cold. Who knew in the days of COVID that you can actually still get colds? It's totally possible to do. Tested. Don't even know what I tested.
It's the new variant.
I've got the bovine variant, very clearly. So today we're going to talk about some of the things that go into the new Pro Stock Class cars, because they are exactly the same things that you guys should be doing to your UTVs when it comes to you playing around with your friends, both from a safety standpoint and also structural, and making them faster. Everybody wants them to be faster, of course. So we're going to have all that stuff. What do you already got good?
Well,
by the way, this is Throw It Out There, so you guys send it and we'll grab it.
I just wanted to say that Brandon is watching, so he's probably laying in a hospital bed,
Brandon
bored out
is?
of his mind.
Oh, you know
Nothing
what?
else to do because nobody's willing to help him because, yeah.
Steve, why don't you tell everybody what happened to Brandon? Brandon, one of our guys in the shop, of course. So
Brandon was trying to get super sicky at lunch, and he got a little too sick. And on his 110 Kawasaki, and I don't know what exactly happened, but I'm assuming he got a little bit of too much whiskey throttle, looped it out, and then he broke his leg and his ankle and something else. Yeah.
So Brandon is in his
He's laid up in the hospital
right now, waiting for an operation to add pins to his leg, watching us.
Yeah.
How lame.
Yeah.
Thanks for the support.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon.
For a guy who needs a crutch for support for some time. Can't wait to have you back, Brandon. So, Super Stock Class. Yes.
Are we standing 6 feet apart because we are afraid of COVID?
Absolutely not.
No, we are not.
Typically, we swap spit every day, just to make sure that that's not an issue.
Yep, we're good.
All right. Super Stock Class, you guys. The reason why we're talking about it is because if you ever wanted to go racing, you could actually take your stock car and jump into that class and race a bunch of guys. It's going to be a pretty amazing class. It's new this year for Best in the Desert. It basically allows you to take a stock vehicle, add a few things for safety, and send it. We have one right here, or the beginnings of one. The reason is that because the race car, I decided to wreck it. Because the race car is going to take a little while to get done, we don't have anything to race in that class. So we're taking, I'm ripping Mitch's car off from him, stealing the rally car, which is our pre-runner, from Mitch and Ernie. And we're going to take the pre-runner, we're going to enter it in Pro Turbo, which means it's going to be way underpowered and way heavy. And we're going to suck, but we're going to be there racing as opposed to not. And with the rally car stepping up, then we're going to take a bone stock 2022 that we got yesterday out of the pallet, out of the crate, and set it up for the Pro Stock Class, and then Mitch and Ernie are going to send it in that class. Now, here's the generic or overview for the rules in that class. Take your bone stock UTV, add a cage. Cage must be, let's just assume chromoly 1.5 inch, 095 or 120 wall. There's designations for how many tubes, A pillar, B pillar, X bracing, and also gusseting. So basically throw a cage on this thing, take the seats, stock seats, throw them out, put an aftermarket seat in it, aftermarket seat belts, got to have window nets, you have to have a full door, but you can keep the opening doors. So the factory door can stay, it can even open, but it has to be a full door, and it has to be pinned or locked in place so that if you wreck the car, it can't actually open on you. So once this is shut, you pin it shut. That way this doesn't fly open if you roll the car like we did. So if it's pinned shut and you have a cage, seats, belts, window nets, that's about the only things that they're requiring besides fire extinguishers, first aid kit, and tail lights. But all of this stuff is easy to add. Most people have already done a cage to their car, as long as it's legal as far as chromoly and wall thickness is concerned. Most people are doing seats and belts to their car already. Most people have full doors. So if you take your normal everyday UTV, add a pin kit to the door, add a window net kit, which, believe it or not, zip ties are legal. You can zip tie window nets to these things and they'll let you go. Fire extinguishers, tail lights, and you could enter this class and you could be racing against pro racers if you want. So I think that'd be pretty badass if I was like the fastest guy in my group, like everybody that we know. You're right. Everybody's got Robbie Gordon in their group.
Always.
Then you should prove it. Why don't you take your car, do all this stuff, and come on out to a best in desert race and enter it and see. You'll probably get addicted whether you do well or not, and you'll probably come back, right? Mitch?
A lot of Let's Go Brandon.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Razor fan wants to know, are you going to move to Polaris cars to race?
No, we're not going to move to Polaris cars to race, although we do have a Pro R or 2 on the way. We actually get them next week. And we have a XP Pro, or is it Pro XP? Pro XP. We have Pro XP here in the shop that are all of which are our cars. So we could enter that Pro XP in the stock class.
That'd be cool.
Maybe we need to do that.
That'd be really cool.
Honestly. But the Pro XP, you're going to see that on Destination Polaris in about 6 months when they air it. We're filming in about a month and a half is when we're filming. But that thing's going to be pretty sick. It's going to have portals on it. It's going to have 35s on it, all the goodies. And we're going to prove to you that portals can go through the whoops and desert just like anything else. So be on the lookout for that. We'll let you know when it's headed up. Mitch.
Dom said he'll drive. He'll drive the Pro.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll have multiple
But then we
cars
lose a helicopter pilot.
Yeah, then we got nobody flying.
Yeah, that's kind of important.
I don't know, man. When I retire, I'm still going to be flying. I'll fly at races.
There we go.
I'll stop driving and I'll just watch you guys.
There we go.
from
We
somewhere
just figured it out, Dom.
All right. Steve?
Will you be selling the stock parts off the new RR?
Yeah, we probably will. But really, what stock parts are left? We're using everything. That's the cool thing about the class. Take a look at the floor. There's a stock cage right there that came with this thing in the crate. So that cage we're not going to use. If you guys are interested in that, let us know. Other than that, let's walk around the car real quick and we'll tell you the things that we're going to change that are not required that you change, but strictly from a structural standpoint. The 2022s have a much stronger frame construction, both in wall thickness, tab thickness, and gusseting. So you don't have to do a full gusset kit on this car like you would in the past. If you're going to race it all the time like we are, then I would suggest it. But from a play car standpoint, you pretty much don't have to. So what we're going to do in the front is we're going to do our rack and pinion, we're going to do our sway bars, and we're going to do an aftermarket lower control arm, which Phil Blurton over at No Limit is sending us lower arms because he's a badass and he's really nice and sent us all this stuff. So we're going to have lower arms on it. We're also going to take the trailing arm on this car, and we're going to box all of these in because they're known to fold if you full tilt send it off of big jumps. And once the factory arm is boxed in, then they don't really have any problems. Phil will tell you because he races that stuff. In the back, we're going to be doing our radius rods because the factory ones definitely are not strong enough for racing. So we'll have our assembly. But take a look at this. This new radius rod plate from Can-Am normally is just sitting here bolted on with the radius rods, but now look, it's got bolt-on tabs or folded tabs for through bolts top and bottom. So this whole thing is located to the chassis. That's just some of the small upgrades that are on this. We'll be pulling some of the plastics, like we won't be running anything in the bed. We'll keep the fenders, of course. The rules require that you run the intercooler in the factory location, that the air box is in the factory location. The radiator is in the factory location, so you can't run some giant radiator in the back, which might be a limiting factor in the class. You can only run as fast as you can for temp. Other things that you have to keep, you can't run aftermarket spindles or bearing carriers, okay? So the days of a double shear ZRP spindle that we run on all the other stuff, are gone for this class. You have to run the factory spindle hub assembly. You have to run the shocks in the factory location, but we'd be changing everything on the inside and springs, of course. Other things in the class, you have to run the factory clutch assembly. You can't change that. The engine is sealed, must be stock. The Pro Stock Class runs turbo cars and it runs normally aspirated cars together. And to make them fair, the turbo cars have a restrictor in the turbo. So it's I forget the millimeter, it's like 32 millimeter or something. But the restrictor in front of the turbo drops the power on this from 145 to the tire to 120 horse to the tire. So it's not that much, but it brings it down to the place where a completely worked, normally aspirated motor is about the same in speed. So also, what is another one, Mitch? 85 miles an hour. 85 mile an hour max in this class. Now you wonder how they're gonna police that. Well, the factory ECUs are 85 mile an hour from Can-Am or from Polaris or from anyone. It's a max for DOT reasons is 85. So you have to run the factory ECU. What did you have?
Scenic Motorsports is joining us.
Oh, right on. Well, let me know when you guys are up.
Yeah.
Oh, right on. Cool. What's happening, guys? Hey, Scenic, you're showing me the scenic view of your roof. That's pretty cool.
There we go.
Right on, man. What's happening?
Just checking it out.
What's your question,
we're
man?
looking to do the same deal, same class.
Right on.
Just kind of trying to get some info.
Do you have any questions about the class I can answer for you?
I think you pretty much answered everything.
Well, right on.
You guys are right on point.
I'll tell you, let me give you a couple pieces of advice that we've learned from talking to other people that are in the class and also talking to Best in the Desert. Don't overcomplicate your car, okay? Because if you're running a turbo car, it's gonna be restricted. You're not gonna have very much for power. So don't go throwing a ton at it. The idea is that all of us can enter with a stock car and some safety and call it good. So keep it simple. Maybe run it more stock than you normally would, or certainly that we normally would. That's for sure. Are you going to run a Can-Am or Polaris or what?
Can-Am. Can-Am. It's a 19 two-seat.
Okay.
Pretty much same car, I guess. I had some questions about the cage. So you guys said chromoly only. So we can't do DOM?
It can be DOM. I was just narrowing it down by saying chromoly, but if you look in the Best in Desert rules, then they allow for mild steel, DOM, and chromoly. But in order to run mild steel or DOM, you have to run either a larger diameter tube or thicker wall, or both. So if you're gonna run DOM, that's great. I would suggest that you run chromoly. It's worth the extra money in a long, no matter what, both in strength and in weight. And weight's gonna be a big deal in this class because you have to run a restrictor in that car. Did you already get an ECU and a restrictor from Can-Am? Because they already have them available.
No, I have not.
So contact Can-Am or anybody you want, or contact us. We've got ECUs and we have restrictors, so we can send that stuff to you. You plug it in and you're good and legal for the class. Another thing that we didn't talk about yet, besides the cage, is you have to run the factory fuel cell or fuel tank. But there's also another rule that says you can't have more than 15 gallons of fuel. Well, the factory tank is like 9.5, which means you can run another 5 or 6 gallons. But that extra 5 or 6 gallons must be a fuel cell. Pyrotech is making one just for the Can-Am that is legal for the class, and it relocates the fuel pump to that tank. So I would suggest calling Pyrotech for that, unless you just run the stock tank. Extra fuel is always good, man. Less pit stops is a good thing. What other questions do you have?
That's pretty much it right there. You covered it.
Awesome, man. If you could spend the money on the chromoly, I would really suggest that you do it. It's going to be a lot lighter and it's going to be a lot safer.
Excellent.
Right on, man. See you out there. Good luck.
Thank you.
Steve.
They're asking in the class, does it have to be a 5-point harness or can it be a 4-point?
By rule, it is always a 5-point harness. So back to what we talked about on Tuesday, points are counted on number of straps. 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel like I'm going to be doing the Macarena. Steve, want to show how we do that?
Well, isn't it?
Hey, Macarena.
Something.
That's so good. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and crotch strap is 5. So if you run a 4-point harness and no crotch strap, then when you hit something head on, you can slide right underneath the belts into the dash. You don't want to do that. So 5-point is a minimum and required by rule.
You might as well put a 5-point on your play car too, because why would you want to slide out? I mean, you wouldn't want to slide out at all. So you might as well forget a race car, put it on your stock car too.
Yeah,
Safety.
I mean the extra cost is only like $25. It's nothing compared to 2 broken legs or knees into the dash. Yeah. It's just not worth doing. So make sure you always 5-point everything. So let's kind of switch it. Let's go from race car stuff back to the play car stuff, right? So if you've got your play car, chances are you're probably already doing a cage. Maybe you're doing the cage for looks. You're not doing it for the safety reason, right? If it's a play car, maybe you are. Who knows? But you probably already have a cage on it. Most people do doors. So let's say you did a TMW cage. You can order it in DOM. You can order it in chromoly. You can order it wire fed welds. You can order it in TIG. You do a set of doors. You do a set of seats and you set of belts. 5-point, of course. Window nets are easy. There's window net kits available that are generic. You can get them from Mackenzie's, PCI Race Radio, a ton of supply, Summit Racing. You can get all that stuff. You know what? I think lights are not mandated, but you have to run everything in the factory location. There will be a bumper requirement. So if you don't want bumpers on your play car, you can fab up a set that just clamp on. That's legal. We actually did that on our pre-runner. We just took some tubes and made half shells and then hose clamped them to the frame and had the bumper that bolted on. You can do that. And basically you're racing. So maximum tires, 35 inches. Run anything up to, I'm sorry, take that back, 32 inches max. So they won't let you run a 33, it's 32s, which is great because you're restricted on horsepower anyway. You're not going to run a big tire. What else? I mean, radio and intercom are not mandatory, but you're going to want it to talk to your navigator, because otherwise how are you going to know how to hit him when he calls the wrong corner? What do you got?
GSM Snuffy.
GSM Snuffy? How's it going, man?
Very well. Thanks for taking me, guys.
No problem. What can we help you with today?
Well, I'm getting a stage 4 kit put on my 22 XP1000 next Wednesday.
Right on.
And I have a concern with parking it at a hotel overnight, Tuesday night. Can I bring it by Wednesday or Tuesday afternoon or evening and let you guys take it and save me from losing $26,000 if somebody takes it?
The man in charge to my right, Steve.
That is absolutely preferred. You dropping your car off the day before. Yeah, we would love to take it the day before. That way we have it. That way we can get the guys started on it first thing in the morning to get you out as soon as possible. So yes, we will take it the day before.
Fantastic, because I'm coming in from Four Corners, Northwest New Mexico.
But not a second more than that, all right?
You got it, young man. I respect my youngins like you better expect your elders.
You and Steve are going to get along great.
Hey, Tube Socks, if you're available, you want to do the work on my rig?
Oh, he's going to be there.
Yeah, I can definitely do that for you.
I appreciate it kindly. Thank you, young man.
You got it, buddy.
Hey, take care, man. See you on Tuesday.
Hey, how about some bling stuff thrown in?
What's that?
Well, now you're going way too far.
Oh, yeah, now you're just asking for too much.
You want to drop off early? You want special treatment? And you want T-shirts? Of course. Absolutely.
My man.
Thank you kindly, guys. You have yourself a good one and a safe one.
Right on.
What was his name? Pappy?
You'll know.
What was his name?
He'll tell you. I guarantee
Snuffy.
he'll tell you.
Snuffy.
What do you got, Mitch?
Nick Windsor wants to know, finally got my 22 Pro XP Walker Evans and washboards suck. When I purchase dual rate springs, can I have my shocks valved later without changing anything else? Budget is an issue.
You got that one.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, a lot of people will do that because most people will do like springs to start off, kind of get your foot in the door. A lot of people really like the spring kit side of it alone. We recommend that. Do the springs first, and then you can always valve them later. It's definitely an option. So
you love the change. The springs are a great jump, but the internal valving is even bigger of a change. So doing one before the other is not a problem at all. You'll like it.
Peel0218. I have a Pro R Ultimate on order. How long does it take to R&D an RAS system and sway bar links?
We have already R&D'd that. Right? No, Pro R, sorry.
Pro R.
Yeah, I apologize. I still have XP Pro on the brain.
I would say sway bar links are up to a week, maybe, if
well,
depending.
sway bar links actually were already in the works. So by the time you get that vehicle, we're already going to have sway bar links for you. They're actually being machined right now.
Yeah.
I was meeting with CNC this morning, and we're already in the process. As far as the internals and spring, we'll have spring kits done within a week of our own car being in possession, so that should be 2 weeks from now. We'll be done. And then internal valving, that can take us up to a month, just depends on how much time we spend on it or need to spend on it. So if you, we should have it all dialed before your car could even get here, because we're about 6 or 7 weeks out on our schedules, and we get our car next week. So we'll have it all dialed before you come in.
It's a great question. Ty Spencer wants to know, with the new cars, are you guys planning a video to redo what UTV to buy? As I know, plenty has changed since you guys did it the last time.
Yes, we think about that a lot. The only thing that's hard about that is we like to have all the vehicles in the shop at one time when we have that discussion. So organizing that is a bit of a bitch. I think that we should. We've had to have done that, needed to have done that for at least a year or two, and we want to do that. So let's make it a point. How about that, Mitch?
Yeah.
Mitch, Steve, let's make some phone calls, see if we can't get everything here. As soon as we get the Pro R and we drive it for a month, then let's get every other car in and we'll do it right after that.
That's a good topic too.
Yeah,
Pretty cool.
yeah, of course. Steve, what do you got?
You were laughing at something.
Somebody put that Pappy forgot to ask, do we give senior discounts?
You can give them one.
There was a good question here, though. It said, do you feel comfortable, where's it at? Sorry, I lost it. Are you comfortable racing a car with stock floorboards and plastic driver compartment?
Yes and no. The floor doesn't bother me because we're going to take the plastic floor. So there's a floor and a skid in this car, there's a plastic floor and a plastic skid plate. We're taking the plastic skid plate off and putting an aluminum one on it. So I don't care about the floor part. Plastic firewall does not bother me. We have one in the race car. A plastic firewall between us and the engine compartment does bother me. We will be doing an aluminum one in the back. It is not required by rule as long as the engine area is stock. Yes, Steve.
The rules in the class, don't they require you to keep majority of the bed? Somebody said you can leave the bed stock, or you can take the bed out.
So I said we were going to be taking the bed out. That's actually a really good question. I don't have that committed to memory yet. I'm not sure if they designate that or not. If you just read the rule book and it said keep the bed, then we're going to have to do it. I just don't remember.
Frank said, you guys installed a steering rack on my X3 and turning radius is more on one side than the other. Is it supposed to be that way?
No, it is not. It should be the same left as it is to the right. That is actually a very easy thing to change though. And if you want to bring it back, we'll knock it out for you right in the parking lot. No big deal. But it's basically taking one tie rod and shortening it and one tie rod and making it longer. That fixes that right away. What you got?
Got John Gary here.
John, how's it going, man?
Good. How you doing today?
Excellent. What can we answer for you, John?
I hit a cow a couple of months ago, and it made a god-awful sound, and I had to hit the brakes to get it to come off the hood. How much noise did that hit?
So my cow didn't have a chance to say or moo anything. Without getting too graphic, he lost his internet connection at the neck. Instantly. There was no blood, there was no reaction, there was no nothing from that cow as soon as his horn hit our skid plate. So it was very, very quick. I think it would have sucked to have a cab full of cow and a bunch of mooing going on for sure.
I've got a 360 Sprinter, and I've rolled it, and I've got that fifth strap, and every once in a while the boys are pretty sore after a big rollover.
Oh, Yeah. I've rolled over a couple times in different classes, and other rollovers hurt more than this. This one was, even though it was 350 feet, we weren't even sore.
Right on. All right. Thanks, you guys. Have a good day.
Thanks, man. Take care. Steve.
Frank said he's
You
in
thinking about
San
hamburgers?
Diego.
Yeah, I'm kind of hungry now. The beef at lunch was good.
Frank said he's in San Diego and he's asking if we're in Glamis this weekend. We are not in Glamis this weekend, but we will be out there President's Day. If you want to swing by, we will take care of it for you, no problem.
Right on. Steve, you want to add anything else to this? Otherwise, I'm gonna readdress all the little things. Walk around the car one more time.
So somebody wants to know, are there any Pro Turbo R specific upgrades in the works or thoughts that we are going to be doing?
Yeah. So Turbo R or Pro R, we will have rear sway bar links. We will have rear sway bar arms that are adjustable. We will have rear sway bars, both stiffer and softer. We'll have front sway bar links, front sway bar arms, adjustable, and front sway bars, different rates. We'll have rear radius rods. We'll have tie rod kits. We are not anytime soon, but maybe 8 months from now, we're going to have a steering rack available. We are already in the middle of doing spring kits. We are already in the middle of doing some internal shock work. We are already in the middle of doing upgraded lower loops on the lower arm mounting position, so that U-shaped lower loop. We've got billet really strong assemblies ready for the U on that support the shaft even better. What other stuff have we got, Mitch? We are even working on programming for the Turbo R and Pro R computer when it comes to shock technology and tunability. That'll be a little bit down the road too. So as soon as we get the car, then we'll finalize shock and spring, and all the other parts will be very, very shortly after.
There's like 2 pages of notebooks that are filled out of just new parts, new ideas, and it's really cool because it is a new car, so everything's different. So it's going to be pretty radical.
Yes, rear toe links with different adjustability, and as well as radius rods. So maybe some rear hub stuff might be in the works. Maybe some front hub stuff, but gotta love your hubs around here.
Ramp Rat wants to know, are Pro R's cattle rated?
Yeah, you know what? I bet you a Pro R would have blasted right through that meat ramp just like our race car. For sure, they're pretty strong.
Taco Del Grande wants to know, is it required to add a B pillar by the dash to be class legal for Best in the Desert and Score?
Yes, both Score and Best in Desert require an A pillar, a B pillar, and a C, and what would be considered the D. So let's look at this car right here. So this car is not legal because it does not have a B pillar, which would be right here. But A, B, C, and a tail, they don't actually call out this tail piece in thickness. According to the rules, as of right here, you could cut that off and you could change the wall thickness from here back. So it's sort of mentioned, but it's not called out as to what you have to run. They also call out X bracing, the size of the tubes in the roof, and they also call out some of the gussets. So some tubes right here or plate gusseting in the cage as well.
Would that be an E pillar?
A, B, C, E?
I don't know. I don't know how far it goes down the
It
alphabet.
probably keeps on going.
Does it?
You got a point.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. But that's pretty easy. You can look that up online. Score and Best in Desert follow the same cage rules. So you're legal in both places.
One last question, Justin.
Yes.
Are we going to be at any of the UTV takeover events this year? I didn't know is there multiple UTV takeovers?
Yeah, we're actually going to be at, I think, all of the takeover events this year. We have a brand new semi, which we will unveil for you in the next week or two. That is a display semi. It's not like the one we have in Glamis that we actually have a full shop and work out of. The display semi will have all product in it. It's got an open bar, it's got seating, it's got pop outs and slides and stereos and stuff. So you guys can come hang out and check out product, and you can actually buy stuff. We'll be at those events. If you want to email Matt at shocktherapyusa.com. Matt with 2 T's. And Mr. Burke will get back to you on the events. Mitch.
So 2 things. There's a lot of people very curious about your helicopter. One would like a walkthrough on the chopper.
Okay.
But this one, Best in the Desert, is actually watching. And
Yes.
they said, and for 2023, the Justin Smith intrusion bars are required.
This is true. So Alan called me and he said from now on they're gonna be requiring an intrusion bar, which that's these 2 right here, or a single bar in the windshield.
The Justin Smith.
They said they're gonna name it after me for a year because I didn't have one in the car I hit a cow with, which those are also known as like cow bars, just so you know. So thanks a lot for rubbing that in, Alan. I appreciate that.
Going down in history.
Yes. So speaking of Alan and Best in the Desert, let me send one more shameless plug to this class that they put together, okay? So, Super Stock Class. Basically, here's the short version. Take a stock car, throw a cage on it, window nets in it, seats, belts, fire extinguishers, couple tail lights, stock radiator, stock location for everything, a whole bunch of stock plastics, stock width, stock arms, run everything you want, run some structure after that, like maybe stronger control arms or better shock packages, some bumpers, and you can race in Best in the Desert with your vehicle. That is pretty badass. That is the most attainable, inexpensive way to get started racing, and we get that question a lot. How do I start racing? Can I come work with you guys on the team? How do I even know what to do? Just go to Best in the Desert website, look up the rules for this class, and see how close your car already is. Maybe you can start right away with just some window nets, call it good. On top of that, what we would suggest, radius rods, structuring, trailing arm, maybe a stronger front lower arm, brake upgrades maybe. Stuff like that we would do just to try and keep things together on them. But other than that, it's pretty simple to get into, and these are the same things you're gonna wanna do on your everyday UTV to keep it alive and you safe. Do you guys have anything else, or can we send it out of here?
We're pretty close. Best in the Desert said it's Nolan, it's not Alan. So Nolan came up with the rule.
Nolan did it. Okay, thanks, Nolan.
And yes, it is an R44 chopper. There's been a lot of questions about that. So.
Okay, well, we'll give you a roundabout tour. We'll make a full episode of the chopper in the future, okay? You guys remind us and we'll talk to you about it. We try not to talk about that too much, though. It's not UTV related.
One question. What window nets do you run on your car, Justin?
Hostile. Yes, Hostile window nets. Badass dude. Make them any size and shape you want. So I'd recommend you call them. Cool. You guys?
That's it.
Thanks for joining us for Pro Stock UTV and how that relates to your UTV and how that relates to safety in general. So if you need anything, I'm going to have Steve send us out.
If you guys are looking to purchase any of the suspension upgrades we talked about today, please visit the website, www.shocktherapyusa.com, or if you have any questions, call into the shop, 623-217-4959.
Steve, the Macarena. I think you got to do it. Macarena, man.
Oh, I forgot the head.